From WDWNT, the worldwide leader in Disney Parks news, this is ParksCenter. What's going on? Happy Wednesday night. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Happy Revenge of the 5th. Happy night. I'm Rob Whiteside. I'll be your host tonight on this magical adventure. And with me, as always, Mr. Patrick Hackett.
So, I have nothing clever.
Perfect! Nailed it. Jill Diffendahl.
Hello.
Kamila Sanders.
Hello. Happy Revenge of the 5th.
And Mr. Pete Carney. Go.
C Vodka, everyone, and a happy Wednesday to you all.
So aside from Patrick not having a good intro, everything else went off without a hitch. Thanks a lot, Patrick. We appreciate it. So tonight we had a jam-packed show. There's a ton of stuff that happened since we left you last Wednesday night, and so we're gonna talk about as much of it as we can. One of the things that was breaking today. So here's the story. So Florida said, "Hey, vaccinated people no longer have to wear masks." So COVID rules changing, right? Then they came and said, Florida governor said, you know what, let's end everything. It's fine. It's Florida. We'll all be fine. And then here comes the Florida businesses no longer need to do temperature checks, deemed waste of time. Then we had Disney go, hey, just a reminder, we're still following the rules out here, so, you know, y'all bring your masks and don't have a high temperature. And then tonight we had this big breaking news that Walt Disney World is removing temperature checks from the parks and resorts for cast members starting on May 8th and then on May 16th for guests. And then after that, shortly, we saw the news. And y'all have to tell me which one came first, because usually Disney's been behind here. Now Universal also said, not only do we see you're removing temperature checks, but we raise you 3 feet markers instead of 6. So, Peter, can you start us off on this? How you feeling? Is this good stuff?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're going to keep the mask mandates and at least keep some kind of form of physical distancing. The temperature checks do cost the Disney company money. They do kind of slow the flow of traffic into the parks on busy days. And not that isn't something that we should have been doing, and I think it was great that they had it. But since we're still implementing the face mask and the physical distancing, even though the state is saying, hey, you don't have to, I feel like they're still going above and beyond, and this will speed things up. We are seeing the parks get more and more busy, so I think this will help with traffic flow going into the parks, especially in those morning hours of getting people in. Also, too, for the amount of people, I go to the parks a lot, you guys know this, for the amount of people that they actually catch over the 100.4, I think it's such a small percentage to be paying, hundreds of people every week to be out there with the scanners. I think with the mask and the physical distancing and taking things above and beyond from the state regulations, I think they're still doing the right thing.
Patrick, it said deemed a waste of resources. Is that accurate?
I mean, honestly, we don't really know how well the temperature checks have been working anywhere. Dollars to donuts, if you're actually that sick, I don't think you're going to make the run out to the parks, because you get pretty sick with this disease. I think it might have been a waste of time. It might have been something we were doing just to placate people. Agree with Pete. I think we keep the masks, especially indoors at times when you're not eating. I would like 6 feet, forever, because people are on top of me entirely too much in the theme parks, and I don't like it.
Yeah. Jill?
I definitely... So, as someone who once got pulled for my temperature being high when there was nothing wrong with me, they sat me in the tent for like 3 minutes, took my temperature again, said you're fine now, and moved me on. I look every time. I go past the cool down tents, and I never see people in them. So I'm kind of curious, what the numbers even are in terms of do people actually get pulled, and is there any kind of data on whether the people who get pulled actually have something wrong with them? Who knows? I think it probably wasn't very efficient. But to Pete's point about temperature checks, causing a lot of backups, especially at Universal. We went to Universal last Tuesday, and it was a Tuesday. It was a weekday. We stood in line at the temperature check Like they kept stopping us and like letting a group of people through, stopping, letting a group of people through. It took us 45 minutes from the time we got into the temperature check line to the time we got to security. Like it was madness because they just don't have the space there to really handle that level of crowd. So I don't know how much I feel like they have helped in terms of combating the spread of COVID in the parks. I don't know if there's actually any data on that whatsoever, but they do certainly cause a lot of congestion and in some ways force people to be closer together because that temperature check line I was stuck in for 45 minutes, there was zero social distancing going on there. It was wall-to-wall people, granted in an open air in the parking garage, but wall-to-wall people stuck together for 45 minutes.
Yeah. Kamila?
I mean, I do think the temperature checks helped people to feel comfortable making the trip to Florida and actually going to the parks, whether or not it really did anything. But I do think it's probably served its purpose, and now it is time to move on. I feel like we're getting to a place where if you want to get vaccinated, you can pretty easily get an appointment now in most states. A lot of people are either have already had their second shot and are fully vaccinated, or they will be very soon. So I think this, along with reduced distance and lines, all of it makes sense. And let me just say, I think there could be a really nice sweet spot for people heading to the parks this summer, fall, because you could have maybe the capacity is still reduced, but some of these things that kind of, created little hiccups in trying to get in or trying to get on a ride, maybe they go away. So maybe there's a sweet spot for people who will be traveling.
Yeah, meanwhile,
I actually got flagged for my temperature being too low once. I'm not sure if I talked about that on the show. But I was so hot, I put my face in front of my air conditioner in my car while I was waiting at Springs. And then, once my friends got there, I just jumped out of the car right up to get scanned. And they were like, your temperature's too low, you can't come in. And I was like, no, I was just sitting in the air conditioning. So I would just sat there and, rub my forehead until it warmed up, and then they let me in. It was pretty fun.
Patrick's in chat trying to get hashtag 6 feet forever trending. So, I
don't mind having some space as well. But on a realistic note, the amount of space it takes up in the parks is insane. Today I only waited 15 minutes for Everest, but the line, if you looked at it, you would have thought it was 6 hours because it went over the bridge into Dino Land. And yet it was only a 15-minute line, but because of all the space used, they had people all the way into Dino Land. It was literally insane. So I know 6 feet's nice. I'll take a 3 feet circle. I like a little bit of space. Just, I don't want to.
Nobody in my perfect circle.
Yeah.
Okay. But I agree. Jill was talking about the line to get temperature checks backed up all the way. I just thought temperature checks was one of the things where you would go, oh, at least they're doing temperature checks. I feel safer. I think in a lot of ways it was probably to make people feel safer, and at this point it's just annoying people probably more than anything. Speaking of annoying people, I annoyed people all day yesterday. It was May the 4th, and if you haven't heard, there's a little holiday for the nerds called May the 4th Be With You. I looked it up yesterday. It was really weird. It started with apparently a British newspaper was giving a shout out to Margaret Thatcher and said May the 4th be with you in 1979 because she was inaugurated on May the 4th. And then since then, it's kind of had a grassroots thing, and until 2011, it was just for the fans. And then when Disney bought Lucasfilm, they went, hey, cha-ching, we got this. We can make some cash money. And oh boy, did they go over the top. Man, it was like Black Friday, Christmas morning, all this merch that came out. They actually did, they brought back the souvenir mug. They had the merch in a special event at Disneyland for people who wanted to buy it. There was this amazing lightsaber set that I'm ashamed to say, I actually put it in my cart for a second and went, no, $375, that's crazy. And then when everyone else had it, I went and it was gone. It was back order only, and now it's disappeared forever. These mugs, brilliant. The Been There series from Starbucks. These are so cool. I'm excited about those, the Batu one especially. And then these Darth Vaders. Yeah, that's kind of awesome. And then they announced, because they did a bunch of announcements. Yeah, yeah. So there was a bunch of announcements, including that they're going to have a new line of toys in the park, so that's kind of cool. And then they had some desserts, and that's kind of cool, kind of weird. You know, some stuff we already knew about that was coming, but we got to see it in practice here. They had limited time popcorn that Tom Corliss actually said was almost as good as something from Japan. All of the swords sold out. Yeah, for sure. He said that. And then I'm trying to get to the end of this madness because there was Wishables. Oh my gosh, the Wishables, the Star Tours Wishables. You know what, Jill? I'm just going to throw this one right to you here. I think. I think that's what we need to do.
I think that's an appropriate reaction. I'm super excited. This is actually the set I am most excited about. Definitely since Peter Pan, if not since Alice in Wonderland. I wasn't a huge fan of the Guardians ones. They were kind of meh for me. But I love that R2 is the open stock. I thought that was an interesting choice. The Star Speeder having a variant, I'm super excited. I'm missing having the variants, so that was an excellent addition. You get a Rex in there. I think that's fantastic. And from a Jilling perspective and actual being able to determine from the package which is which, there's a lot of variation going on here. I think it will be relatively easy to tell the difference. The Star Speeder should be super easy to pick out, and the others, I think Rex will be relatively easy too. So I'm excited to be able to get the set without a lot of extraneous wishables lying around.
Pete, because you were local, did you buy the magic bands?
No.
Oh man!
Wow.
Devastating! Oh, so devastating. There were.
Honestly, I'm kind of upset. I'm waiting for Disney to really bring back some really cool magic bands. I won't go on a rant about that because we're out of time. But I'm ready for like some really cool magic, like ones that have like special effects on the lighting and sounds when you stand into the parks and all the other jazz. But I mean, I spent so much money on magic bands. The only thing I really collect from Disney. I decided to pass on these this time.
That's devastating, man. I really thought like you would have some and we could buy them off of you. Kamila, did you go online and buy any of this stuff, or are you just holding off?
So I really wanted the thermos, which I did not see online. So, you know, the one thing I will just say is for those of us who can't be on the parks on this day, I wish Disney would do a little more to make it a little more inclusive, make it easier for people who aren't in the parks to get access to the Wishables. Hopefully they'll be coming eventually, but I really wanted that thermos. And I even tried to go through a personal Disney shopper, and they were sold out there as well. So, sad.
That is sad. I am sorry for that.
They called me.
So they do again, there was a lot of stuff that happened for May the 4th. There's a new Simpsons short on Disney Plus, which if you haven't watched it, oh my gosh, watch it, pause it, go through it. It's hilarious. It's a 2-minute short. That's kind of awesome. And then they made a big announcement too. So there was this announcement about the Galactic Starcruiser, which we've all been excited about. We know about the Star Wars Hotel, but now they're telling us it's not launching until 2022. So that was their big news. Is guess what? You can't have this yet, but they did debut this great model at Hollywood Studios, which I've seen. I saw at D23. It's
what
really
is that?
cool
A hotel for ants?
Oh
yeah,
my gosh,
thank you, Pete.
dude. Then they also have some more news about it. They have some more art for it, but most importantly, to tease it, they showed us the lightsaber finally, and oh my gosh, let's watch. Oh man, that's wow.
Is it as
Okay,
cool
quiz.
without the sound effect?
How many times did everyone replay this? Because I think I probably
A lot.
rewound it like 25 times to just like see
Slow-mo?
Slow-mo.
Yeah, Patrick, you need one of these, right? You're gonna get one. You're gonna go stay in the Starcruiser.
Listen, I need to stay in the Starcruiser more than just about anything else I need in my life. I have the awesome Nerf Chewie crossbow up there. I don't really have a great lightsaber display. I have a Kylo Ren one, but it's not here. I need that lightsaber, and word is that you're just going to get to play with it, or like train with it, not take it with you, which is ridiculous. And I want Jill and Rob to know that I tried to buy Wishables on May 4th. I was ready to jump in, and they were not on Shop Disney except for R2. And I was like, Wishables, you almost had me.
Don't worry, they'll come back.
They were on Shop Disney because somebody ordered 5.
They just
I must have been too late.
Yeah, honestly, it was like, again, it was like Christmas morning. It was like, oh my gosh, look at all this stuff, and we kind of knew this stuff was coming. But when you looked down that page of things, and they tried to recycle some of the stuff, the key, they did the child key, and they're like, oh hey, it's the key for the child. Well, we've already seen that, but they recycled it into the rest of the page.
3 months old.
Yeah, exactly.
No, maybe more than that actually.
By the way, there are way too many keys. I had a long conversation with Neko about keys, and it's a problem. And I know, Jill, you've got a lot of blind pack keys ahead of you.
The Valentine's ones we opened already on Boxed In, and I did not get the mystery key, but I got all the others, so I was excited about that. Nico is getting one as a gift in the near future, because she and I share a birthday, which is very soon, which is exciting. But yeah, I try only to buy like the collector sets because there's so many of them. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, there's like 64.
I actually am
insane.
surprised that it's only that many.
Well, the blind pack Valentine's
Sounds like a good bracket for March Madness.
Yeah, the keys.
64
64. It's perfect. Let's do it. Let's lock it in now.
How far do we have to go until we can do March Madness of the best Wishables collection? Because I feel like we're not that far off of those either.
We are at 32, I think. It's a lot. So, yeah, I think we're good.
Wow.
We'll get there. But, yeah, they did those blind box Star Wars ones yesterday, and when I went to try to get them, they were gone. So I was a little heartbroken about that. I hope Jason came up with some. So let's talk about the kids. It's all about the kids. They're the college program. It's coming back. Back to school. The Disney College Program is returning. Past participants invited to reapply, is what this says. So, just basically this is something we knew was going to come back. We knew it had to come back. I'm surprised they didn't talk about the international program first before they talk about the college program coming back. But I would say, though, yeah, so I would say, though, that with the Disney College Program, they've been missing a lot of free employees, obviously. But also, a lot of these kids just had this, like, ripped away from them. Pete, I know you talked to a lot of cast members. Did you have a lot of friends who, like, knew college program kids or people who had been in the college program? Because I can't imagine going through all the interviews, getting everything, and then being told, hey, pack your stuff, there's a pandemic coming.
Yeah, it was really sad. I remember right when it first happened, I was taking an Uber somewhere, and I was talking to the Uber driver about something Disney came up, and she said I was accepted into the Disney College Program, but then, we moved down here, uprooted my whole life, came down, my parents dropped me off, said good luck, parents left, I was here, started, and then everything kind of shut down, and now I was left with no job, no money, can't pay rent, and I just signed a lease, I just felt so bad. My heart went out to her. She's like, I can't go back home. There was just no option, and it was really tough. So I'm super excited to come back. I'm with you. I really hope the international program follows as well. World Showcase just kind of hasn't been the same. But for the Disney College Program, I mean, I don't think everyone is going to come back. I'm sure some people have started new phases in their lives at this point. But I think for some people who lives have been on hold or had trouble finding that first job right out of college, I think this is really great that Disney's like, hey, come on back. Let's hit the reset button. Also, I mean, some people hate on the Disney College Program. I tend to like it. I love people who are super excited and fresh faces to be here. I mean, Disney's got it made where they have people literally begging and auditioning to come down, work for next to nothing, but they're excited to be there. They're happy to be in the parks. Just seeing a smiling face and someone who's eager to share the magic with you in the parks is something really special. So I'm excited that they're coming back.
Yeah. Anybody else?
No, I mean, I think there's a needed injection of more enthusiastic attitude sometimes. I think college program is. So I'm glad they're back. I do hope international program comes back, but I think there's so many more logistical issues there. Like I think they're bringing college program back because now state regulations are going to allow everything necessary for that to happen, but it's all generally people traveling domestically, but international travel, I think we're still a good ways off from.
Also hard to keep those college program kids 6 feet apart, if you know what I mean.
Why? Why?
What do you mean?
Why would you do that?
I mean,
Why would you say that?
housing is very close together.
Oh, sure.
They have new housing too. It's going to be exciting times for them.
I was going to say they're selling their old house, so they gotta stay somewhere.
It's a new place.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to talk about this. This was a weird thing that came up this week. Is the Enchanted Wish, the attraction at Disneyland that is Snow White's Enchanted Wish. We talked about it last week, and the fact that it's brand new. They've been put in new magic. They've put in a new finale scene, and where Snow White gets her happily ever after. And some people are like, this is not a good thing. They feel like that this is a non-consensual true love's kiss.
A minor. How dare you?
So I'm going to go to Patrick on this one because he's taking the bullet.
Yep, I got you, everyone. Okay, so in my day job, I am in fact a certified CPR instructor. I can certify you in CPR, AED, first aid, and all that. What I'm about to read to you is a slide off of my training from the American Red Cross. When you start giving care, you give care until EMS takes over. You always ask for consent. Consent is implied if the person is unresponsive, confused, or mentally impaired, a minor with a life-threatening condition, and the parent or guardian is not present. Add into that, with Good Samaritan laws, he would be doing a disservice to not try and rouse that person. This is why people get upset and miss the point about representation, because we go too far at times, and we need to see that not everything is a cause for outrage. This is magical CPR. That's what this guy did in this situation. Consent is a very important thing. I teach this class, and I teach people you get consent. It can be given and taken away at any point in time. But legitimately, if you want to look at it from a life-saving standpoint, he did the right thing in that scenario. And, there's so much to be upset about in the world, and Disney is really working hard to make things better, and they're getting it on both ends every time they make any change. But this is one of those things that should be a non-issue. I understand where people are coming from, and if this is something that triggers you, I get it. But there is nothing wrong with what happened here. This is not sexual. It's not romantic. It is, he thinks this kiss and has been led to believe this kiss will save her life, and he saves her life.
Can I interject this? This is what hit in my head, and I don't know if this is awful or not. In Aladdin, when Aladdin is sinking, and the genie is like, "Come on, kid, you got to tell me you want this wish," and then he assumes the wish. Like that's kind of along the lines of what you're talking about. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Jill, you're
giving me the woken up by a kiss, how is she not way more startled? Like, I always feel like I'm sneezing when I get woken up with a kiss. I'm just like, what are you doing? She
was like on her death, like she was basically in a death-like coma. I don't think you like snap awake from that. No, I just don't think this is like Aladdin because there was no physical contact in Aladdin, and I think that's the piece of this that is what the problem is. I'm not saying I agree that there's a problem here, but I think that's the basis of the complaint, is that it is lip-to-lip contact that she did not actively consent to. And that is why there's a stink about it. It's not the same as Aladdin at all.
Yep, and that's why I almost didn't bring it up, and then I did. Learn from me, kids. So we're going down to...
The only thing I'm going to say is that this is obvious. I mean, I'm not trying to hurt everyone's feelings. I think this is a non-story. And the only thing that bothers me about it, to me it's kind of comical, but the only thing that bothers me is that, like, kind of like Patrick touched on briefly, is that there's some real issues out there that we probably should be really worried about or trying to fix or addressing, and we're wasting our time with two literally fantasy made-up people kissing someone to wake them up from death, and this is a real issue now. Like, come on, like, this is ridiculous. What are we doing here? To me, this is hilarious. When I heard this, I didn't think this was a real thing.
You know what always makes me... Go ahead, Kamila.
Oh, no, I just was going to say, it's interesting because I did go back and read the original article in the San Francisco Gate that this kind of came from, and my first thought was, all these spoilers about a scene that didn't exist in the ride before that now it's like everywhere, so it's like way to ruin it because I was trying to wait to see it for myself. But I do think there's something interesting because when I think about Disney as like a media company, or when I think about Disney as a content producer, I definitely feel like if you look at the movies they put out, particularly the animated ones that are geared towards younger audiences, although I think people of all ages tend to come to love them, I do feel like they're being more thoughtful and considerate. I will say, and this isn't necessarily commentary on this ride, but I do think the parks is the one place where you don't really see that same kind of thoughtfulness and consideration, and that's where they kind of, I think it keeps getting brought up is, it feels like there's an opportunity that's there, and for all the people who say Disney is doing all of this work to try to make all of these changes, I think Disney is dragging their feet. I don't think they're going out of their way to do any of this. And I think it's actually not when the fans bring it up, it's when other major media companies start to call them out for things, and that's ultimately what they're trying to prevent. Again, not necessarily with this, but when they get called out, they do not like being criticized by their peers. And so, I think that's always interesting to see how they respond.
Good point.
Yep. I agree. All right, so let's move on to something that always cheers everybody up. It's boats. Let's talk about boats, Kamila. Woo! Yes, exactly. So they've got this new boat. It's called the Disney Wish, and I have lost the tab. There it is. There's the Disney Wish. There she is. Open May 27th for bookings. So big news. I know that when we were signing off last week, you were excited, Kamila, that Thursday was going to be talking about the new announcement. They're having an aqua mouse instead of an aqua duck, and they're saying it's the first attraction at sea. So more than just a water slide. They're going to have all of their favorite IPs, Marvel, Superhero Academy, there's Fairy Tale Hall for the kids. They've got this Walt restaurant, which looks really kind of cool. They've got a Frozen dinner show and a Marvel show, or a Marvel dinner. And then this, oh my gosh, this looks like something basically from the Halcyon, the Galactic Starcruiser, a hyperspace lounge coming for the Star Wars fans. And then a Beauty and the Beast inspired restaurant, and then the Aladdin show, where the genie saves Aladdin under the sea. Kamila, have you gotten phone calls or people booking this thing right now?
I haven't yet, and I think it'll be interesting because people are still hesitant to cruise. They're hesitant to book it. Sailings keep getting canceled or pushed back, and I think even when they can sail, there's questions about what that's going to be like. This particular ship obviously doesn't set sail for some time, so we'll see as we get a little closer to May 27th. But I can definitely say there are a lot of families, surprisingly a lot, where they do not have that much interest in visiting a Disney park, but they love Disney cruises. And consistently, I hear great feedback from people who go on Disney cruises. They absolutely love it. They just have a really nice fan base, and I thought the ship looks really nice. I like the way that they really give a lot of thought to their rooms or their cabins where people are staying. They recognize that I think people do want some actual space on their ship, which you don't get with all the other cruise boats out there. I was particularly interested in that 2-story room that they had. I was wondering how many of those, because you'd be surprised. That one will probably be one that will be hard to actually reserve. But overall, I think it looks great. It was a really nice little presentation they did, and I think it's exciting.
Very cool, Patrick. When are you booking yours?
Yeah. Oh man, this is so tough because it's so expensive. There are so many more affordable cruise lines, but you look at this and this seems just amazing. I don't buy the whole first attraction at sea. Like the aqueduct is an attraction as well, but I guess you put some screens in it becomes more of an attraction. But everything on this looks amazing, and I might bite the bullet. I don't know how well my daughter would do on a Norwegian cruise, but I know if there's Goofy somewhere on that cruise ship, I can keep her entertained for a little bit.
They spared no expense.
Nice.
Jill, thoughts?
I've never been on any cruise, Disney or otherwise. I've had many a person try to talk me into it. I actually think this Star Wars bar is probably the thing more than anything that would make me want to go. It looks amazing. It also reminds me way too much of 10 Forward from Star Trek, but nonetheless, I think it's super cool. And if it's anything, it looks like Oga's, but with more places to sit down, which is sorely needed. I'm all for that. But I would spend a lot of my time in that spot if I am on that ship.
Pete, would you spend your time in that spot?
As a professional cruiser, and by that I mean I took one Carnival cruise from New York to Canada. I think this looks really cool. I think Laura put it in the chat, cruise and sort of go on one, and I think she said the only one she would do is a Disney cruise. This looks awesome, but the only thing I'm congrats to them, by the way. The boat looks amazing, the ship looks amazing, but how come like everything in the concept art and all these previews we're seeing, we know they're actually going to happen on this cruise ship? Like they're done, they're being designed, they're being installed, and it's going to be amazing. People rave reviews about Disney cruises, but when it comes to the parks, we see concept art and money being put aside and things done, and then all of a sudden when the final product comes out, we're like, oh, these couple things were cut. Like imagine you got on the ship at the Disney Wish and they were like, oh yeah, there's no theater. We just didn't have the money at the last minute, so it's just an atrium with seats. Enjoy. Like this is a rest area. I just wish that the money set aside, that's my only beef with cruise ships to parks. But yeah, one day when I have money, I can't wait to go on this ship.
Okay. And you'll call Kamila and you'll get everything set up.
100%. Right. Why would I not?
Okay,
I don't want to do my own planning. Not when it's free.
So here we go.
Vacation here. I mean, come on.
We haven't really talked enough about Disneyland in the past couple months. So boom, we're going to talk about Disneyland as we're wrapping up here. They estimated losses of $4.3 billion in revenue for the 13-month closure. I'm both staggered by that number and not surprised. I don't know how you guys feel about that one, but the other topic within the Disneyland is President Ken Potrock, and new internet sensation, has announced that they will return to an annual pass membership program debuting by the end of the year, which is pretty exciting. Just because I get to be a legacy pass holder for the only year I've ever held a pass. And then they also announced that the Jungle Cruise will reopen this summer, which is actually, again, faster than I thought. And then also, I mean, it seems like they could do this pretty quickly. The one in Disneyland still shut down. They can do all the things they've been doing in Florida and take stuff down and then put in these new pieces. It sounds like it's going to probably open there first. I'm going to throw this to Pete. Let's talk about the annual pass part of it. What do you think about the fact that this is coming back? I know you're a hardcore Florida pass holder.
Yeah, I thought so. I'm super, super excited for the Californians who are finally going to get their AP program back. I mean, that's a big deal, and I think we talked about this last week too. But if I lived here in Florida and didn't have an annual pass and I had to pay regular pricing or some kind of bulk pricing or decide what 10 days in a row or what 14-day window, it would be madness. So this is, I'm so happy to bring this back. I couldn't see how they were going to have this park open without its AP program. So for the Californians and also just for people around the country who love Disneyland, the original park, I'm happy for them. And the Two Coasts pass as well. So AP program, home run, super excited. Again, to Disney's credit, or their discredit, they could charge whatever they want, but they just need to have it. And I hate saying that because even if they, let's say maybe not double, well, probably even doubled, I would still be saving money than buying individual tickets. So, I mean, yeah, make your money. Charge a bunch of money. People will pay for it. Everyone will be happy. Let them run in and out of Disneyland whenever they want. Just like I run in and out of the parks here.
Yeah, Jill?
Yeah, the thing that I'm most excited about with this news that the Disneyland Pass program is coming back is the fact that it makes it way, way, way less likely that they're going to mess with the program in Florida, other than very possibly jacking up the rates, which they do every year anyway. But yeah, I think, well, and availability for park passes in Disneyland, I think, if I recall correctly, they just replenished park passes, and you can pretty much get any day in May right now. So I think Disneyland is much more of an AP park than Florida even is, and they are really feeling the impact in terms of, there are far more park passes available than people going to the parks right now. So it was necessary, and I think it's to their credit. Like, how can you run every other theme park in the world has annual passes? Disneyland is not that special that they get to be that elite and say, no one gets to be a member. You have to pay full price every time. Like, this was definitely necessary, and I'm glad it's coming back, and sooner rather than later.
Yeah, Patrick?
I'm going to echo everybody else's sentiments. The only thing that it made me think was about Orlando getting their passes back, because I want my annual pass. That's my money right there. It was hard to book a trip that I just did and make sure I got my passes, make sure I picked the right days. Yeah, it felt too much pressure, less pressure.
Yeah.
And bring back Tables in Wonderland. Sorry.
Kamila?
Yeah, I mean, as someone who is also a legacy Disneyland pass holder and who lost my pass, whether I wanted it to be gone or not, I'm really interested to see in what format it returns, because I do think there need to be changes specifically to the Disneyland annual pass, because it really just a smaller park, and as an out-of-state AP, if I'm going, I'm not just stopping by to see the fireworks or the parade after work. Like, for me, it's an actual trip, even if it's just over the weekend or a few days or whatever. And I think based on some of the surveys they sent out, it's very possible that it will not only will it be expensive, but it may not look like what it did previously. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because I do kind of think having some of the free reign to the parks all the time, it started to become a little bit of an issue. And I do think it affected out-of-state visitors who are paying much more, especially if they're ticketed people. The other thing I'm curious about is whether or not they're going to allow payment plans. I think if they don't, that's going to prevent a lot of current California pass holders from potentially being able to get one again.
Yeah.
Do you think so? Only because, with everything going on in the world and the economy, I think it would kind of be a jerk move not to have payment plans. Be like, hey, we know everyone's struggling, but if you come back, we're going to want your $1,500 up front and in cash in the back alley in a black. Thank you. I think
just drop it off at Bob's
directly
house.
into Ken Pot Rock's
pocket. Here's Bob's address. Leave it in the mailbox. Hum twice and pull away.
Cool. All right.
Anything is possible.
So, before we go, and thank you guys again for joining us tonight. Again, there's been a lot of information coming out this week. There's a lot of other stuff that we didn't even have a chance to talk about. Maybe we'll talk about some of it in our post show. Our post show is for our Patreon members, our WIGs. So, WIGs, we love you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here all the time. It means so much to us that you are. This is our 150th episode, which is kind of crazy. It makes it the second longest, in my mind, running show that we have on the network, and that other show took a few breaks. So, there's something to be said for that. And in honor of that, I just wanted to do something real quick for the fact that, we did a big deal for the 100th. I didn't want to do that. And we'll do a big deal for the 200th. But for the 150th, I just want to do a flashback to episode 2, and this young fella and this lady.
Wow.
This was before, and there's Ben, the guy. There he is. This was back when he was still doing it, I guess, in his mom's living room.
FastPass is not transferable.
I know. This is breaking news. I don't want to get dinged, or else I'd have audio here, but. There's Rich. Rich was on there.
Rich.
Yeah, we can still find Rich on Pressing Issues.
Yeah, now and then.
So it's neat to look back at these and see these guys doing this show from back in the beginning. So thank you guys so much for all of you who have been
Hit
with
the
us
like
every Wednesday night. Yes, please hit the like button.
Mash it.
Mash it. And then if we don't see you in the post show, we will see you next Wednesday night. So thanks so much. Have a great night.
Sibako. Da 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 da.